Hi and welcome to this video on Destiny 2. This video will be covering everything to do with the gameplay because this game is fucking crazy. Like this one expansion has released so many spectacular things that I had to cover it. I just recently actually got to be able to sink my teeth into it because I haven't been able to complete that final mission. I had to get somebody to play with me. LFGs are not my forte because people don't really like me, like I've talked about in previous videos. My personality just doesn't collide with typical gamers nowadays because everyone wants to be upset. They want to hear somebody and instantly be upset even if they're just trying to be nice. And it's also, even if you're like saying GG, they'll instantly think, oh, you're being a dick. Some of them, a lot of them. Not necessarily all of them. Uh, People do. And those are the people that I typically get to play with, and it is annoying. This game overall has been amazing for how you can build, how you can make a story in my previous video, how you can craft a story and just make something amazing. And my previous video was a little bit ago, and the reason why I didn't make a video Friday is because I was down in the dumps. I didn't bother posting anything because I didn't really care. That's a doggo. Sorry about that. What was I going to say? That is going to be basically a continuation or a predecessor to this. This is a continuation of that. If you want to go watch that, you can. Uh, this game overall is absolutely fucking gorgeous, and how you can and I think that actually was my previous video. I think I posted that. I don't actually know. Hope I did. Uh, what was I gonna say? This game is amazing at synergy. How you can combine things overall and make something fucking gorgeous. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Each part of this is very good for what I can do right now, specifically. Uh, a good taste of how this game overall has evolved is how there's going to be a new exotic, but it's not an exotic in the typical sense. It's not an exotic in the you have this screen, you have this armor perk, and that's it. Every role is going to have different stats, and that's it. It's pretty simple. This is going to be the very first exotic mark or class item, in this specific terminology, exotic class item, which takes pieces from all sorts of exotics and puts them together. And specifically pieces, not the full thing, to make it a little bit more balanced, or to make it balanced. And that is the key thing. How would they do this? How they balance this entire crazy sandbox is making it have costs, so to speak. Where, for an example, and the reason I'm talking about this is because this exotic is the best exotic I can have for this build right now. In the exotic class item, there's going to be a spirit, I believe is what it's called, a spirit or something like that, of inmost light. I think something around those lines, I forget exactly the wordage, but something around those lines, which takes the ability region of this exotic, but not the damage increase or ability increase, or just the ability region, not any other increases overall. Which will be great because I don't care about the damage increases, I care about the ability region. Because, and I don't know what else about that, the other column is, okay, the specifics about that, if you want to know more about it, Astrocross has an amazing video covering all the different roles and how different roles can possibly synergize. Just look up Astrocross exotic class items. That should be all you have to look up. And if you want to look it up, be my guest. It is actually an amazing video. A lot of his videos are very good. I just don't have the same tastes in a lot of different things as he does, because I like seeing the overall what it could do, which is exactly what this build does overall. Because this subclass, I think, was made for me overall, because holy shit, you are going to see why. Um, but with all that said, that is the only exotic I can really use right now because I want the ability region. Because all of this is based off of the ability region, and that is all I really need. Even in the legendary campaign, all I really needed, first, the last campaign, or the last mission of the campaign, is a fucking bitch and a half, because the final boss, the Witness, holy shit, if you do not have a duo, at the very least, once I had a duo that was decent, like, not even decent, they're actually pretty fucking good. If you can actually have a duo that can play on the same wavelength, that you can actually work with you and just draw fire, because that's all you need to be able to complete that boss fight, is to be able to have something draw fire for you, or be able to go invisible, something like that, to not be able to be shot by everything, because there's so many things that are in that ring. That's the only requirement to be able to beat that boss fight on Legendary specifically. But it's fucking crazy how difficult that is, and is amazing. I haven't even tried the raid yet because if you haven't watched any of my videos, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of people to play with because of all sorts of different reasons here and there. Like I talked about in the or a little bit ago in the video, people just don't really like my personality. I try my best to just talk and be me, but people just apparently don't like me, which is something, but it's something that has always been a thing. So don't worry about it, basically. The subclass, and the reason why I worry about ability region above anything else is because of how all of these abilities synergize overall. Like Thruster, for example. And first, the reason why you see the symbol there and why it shows Arc class ability is because that is from the Arc subclass, if you didn't know that. That class ability, and the reason why it's here on Prismatic, even though it is a different subclass altogether than Arc, is because that is how the build crafting works. It is taking pieces, not the entire kit, specifically not the entire kit, because like I said, there's costs to it with the exotic class item, even with the prismatic subclass. There's costs to it. The costs are, it's not as good. Like Thruster will be amazing if you can go to Amplified, but you can go to Amplified with this, but only in one way and don't benefit from anything else in the Arc kit really, except for this, a little bit of things here and there, like a little bit of things here and there in this area, the super, and just that's really about it. You have a grenade too, you have a melee, but the melee, in my personal opinion, is like the worst melee out of the three. It's the most unique, and that's something amazing about all of these different things. They are the unique thing. Like, for an example, there's a projectile. This projectile, I think, is relatively speaking, better than Yeet Hammer and more balanced than Yeet Hammer, like for an example that says Overshield instead of Devour, where this, the version on Void, and the reason I'm talking about this is because there's a lot of different pieces of how it balances overall and how there's different pros and cons. Void Overshoot is what you get for picking up a Orb of Power on this subclass instead of Devour on Void. Like, if you want to specialize in something specific, like Devour or even Overshoot for that matter, go into that. This is the jack of all trades, but not really master of anyone except for the overall sandbox. And that's what I have built for, the overall sandbox and what I can accomplish with everything going at maximum and being able to play to the maximum, different things like that. This shit is fucking crazy. First, I do want to talk about something absolutely amazing about this. Diamond Lance can be procced off of anything, which allows Frenzy Blade to do all sorts of things, not just be a movement tool, not just be a consecration, but with Monte Carlo will also be an amazing way to get Prismatic up and all sorts of things. But before I get into more, I do want to scroll over all these. If you want to look at it, you can, but I'm going to cover the specifics that I really want to cover for how this shit really works and what I'm really wanting to do for all this. I do have more in-depth on the previous video. I'm going to say I have the previous video. I think I do. I don't know. I hope I do. I'm going to check after the video, and if I don't have it, I'm going to feel stupid. But, or not stupid. Lack of knowledge, I think is the right word, because not stupid. But the reason why I have this entire build set up how I do, and something I do want to talk about before I get into the build specifically, or I can actually talk about this afterwards because it is about the build specifically. First, if you kill something with a strand debuff, specifically a strand debuff, which is Sever, Unravel, and Suspension. If you kill something with any of those three, and you have Suspension Grenade here, you have all sorts of different things, and so, okay. Going step by step. If you have something killed by one of those subclasses, some classes verbs, you get something specific from that subclass. Like if you kill something with the arc ability, like get a 3-piece with that one thunderclap, boom, you instantly get amplified. And you can actually build off of that with like not Helmet Save 14, I want to keep saying that, that's not the right. Insurmountable Skullfort, where arc melee final blows give you back the melee ability. That works with this subclass, even though it's not arc subclass. It's the arc melee that works with it. Little keywords here and there are very fucking cool. Now, a lot of things work with your super now instead of your subclass, which is amazing overall, and different synergies and different things here and there, which is just fucking cool. Sorry about that. I was standing up because my chair is not comfortable. It is wooden, and I have a wooden floor, which is why you heard it so loudly, I believe. This gives me, okay, first, each ability is unique. like I was talking about with this, how this gives overshield, like the thing here, it all works together instead of giving anything out of the blue and all of them working together. This is more movement. This is a little bit of movement with little things here and there it can do. But this is multiple charges, which you could do different things here and there, which is, okay, this is multiple charges with the best movement. Without a doubt, this is the best movement about all the different melee abilities. That is the best movement because you have 3 charges. You don't have to sprint before you activate it and different things like that allow you to just have the best time about it. And you're actually going to see that later in the video when I actually run through it all and just show you the entire thing, which is going to be very interesting and going to show you a lot of entire thing, as in I'm going to run from one side of the map, which is the side I'm on right now, which is the very beginning of the map, all the way to the other side. And if you haven't seen a lot about this campaign, this destination is linear. It is one long line with jets here and there, kind of like a tree, that general thing. I'm going to run through the entire thing because I've done the campaign and it's all unlocked for me now. And show you that. I am going to, when I get to that, I'm going to have a thing here which will allow you to actually see when it is going to be that time frame, so you can actually skip to that point if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. That should be self-explanatory. But besides the point, that guy, if you damage somebody with a darkness ability, you can turn him into a Tangle, which you can then use in different ways. For the Titan subclass specifically, it is just an extra form of damage, unless you have something like Diamond Lance or this, for an example. You freeze them first with either or, and then you toss the Tangle in there, and you can shatter them basically instantly. I think depending on the enemy and depending on the damage you can actually do, specific things like that, it will not shatter them, but typically if you get a direct hit, it will shatter them, which will be very effective at just about anything you want to do. Which you can maximize if you want to do something like that. You can have a fuck ton more tangles, but with this kit overall, I am trying to maximize that instead of that, and maximize that instead of that. Which is why I have multiple charges. I have that to be able to slam multiple times, rapid succession. I have Monte Carlo to be able to get those melee abilities back, and I have this to be able to have a decent or a very good ranged option. And okay, Adagio is very, very good overall. It's like a better Rampage, to be completely honest, in my personal opinion. Rampage is more of a adrenaline rush. When you get it active, you keep it going, and you're going to shred everything a hell of a lot easier. But Adagio is just better. I thought it would be a hell of a lot worse. I thought the rate of fire decrease would be a lot worse, but it's actually pretty fucking good. And I'm gonna get, okay, something kind of cool. I'm gonna get to why this specific role is very important with the build overall. Chill Clip is a very weird perk overall, unless you are using like a fusion rifle, not fusion rifle. Yeah, fusion rifle. I thought I said fusion rifle for some reason. Fusion rifle. If you're using a fusion rifle Chill Clip, you are able to freeze in basically 2 bursts, 3 bursts, depending on the fusion rifle, depending on the rate of fire. I think specifically, not the frame. I think the rate of fire. So you could, in theory, take a like a rapid fire and get it on the get it right over the cusp of making it a 2-shot into aggressive frame territory. Possibly, if it works on that, I don't actually know specifically. But the reason why I have Chill Clip specifically, and the thing I wanted to get into about how these fragments they work, but there's little glitches here and there. Like this and this. These two do stack. These two stack very, very well when it comes to a whole lot of different things. Like, that stacks with supers. Like, if you have, say, the Strand Melee for Hunter, you yeet that, you have Golden Gun. So you yeet that, you have Celestial Nighthawk. You pop that bitch. You will do a metric fuck ton more damage. If I remember correctly, it was like 84. I tested this. It was like 84 damage, not with the Celestial Nighthawk. I don't like Celestial Nighthawk. I prefer the 3-shot because that allows me to have ad clear and 1 big bitch damage if I really want it. Like, I can use it as a sniper. More versatile in that way. But the 3-shot Golden Gun, with the first shot, how it does less damage, it went from a 84,000 something hundred to a 91, 94, 5. I want to say somewhere around there, 95 below damage. That increase alone makes that fucking crazy because that is a super. That is 10,000 more damage ish. Not really, but ish. And that is fucking crazy. And could actually be 10,000 more damage, which is fucking crazy. And that will stack with each shot if you can keep that. Like if you have, for Hunter again, if you toss Duskfield on the big bitch and then go in with your super, you are doing that much damage with each shot, and each shot is doing more and more damage overall, so you're just going to annihilate something. And that is the overall playstyle of this kit overall. Like, you can do crazy shit. But the weird thing about it, that plus that and that actually make Consecration do less damage than making it do more, which is very weird. And I don't know if it's just that or that and that, but I should be able to annihilate, just delete things off of the face of the game. But because my goal is to toss Diamond Lance, freeze them, slow them in some way, shape, or form, and then do that. And the reason why I have the rocket launcher is because if I can't just concentrate them, if they're big enough bitch, I shoot the rocket first, then lead in with the consecration, and I can switch to this, shoot a little bit because that's all loading holster, swap back, do it again, and again, and again, and again, until I have to go to this. And the amazing thing about why I have this super is not just because of the Woven Mail. The reason why I have the super, and the reason why I have Woven Mail is because of Recuperation plus Woven Mail basically gives you Devour. Basically, it's not Devour, it's not maximum HP, but it is basically maximum HP because of the damage reduction you get on top of the held back. It's practically Devour. It's pretty handy. But the reason why I have this above the practically Devour is because that gives back all melee charges, all of them, which is fucking gorgeous. And I think I talked about this in the previous video, and I know I made the video. I don't know if I posted it, which is why I believe I made it, and I'm gonna keep saying that. But all of these different, or this super specifically, gives back melee ability charge, guaranteed. That gives back all melee ability charges. This gives back one, and I don't know about any others. I think all supers should, even with the, and not all supers do give back abilities. Like, that doesn't give back ability. The only other super that gives back an ability that I know of is Bubble, but that gives back your grenade. But and the specifics of that giving back multiple, that giving back one is very weird. I think all supers, like how the Warlock helmet gives you the ability to give back all your abilities when you cast your super at low health, I think that should just be a buff to the overall super synergy of each super giving back an ability. Like, for an example, Arc. Arc, when you pop that super, should give you back your melee charge. Because no matter what, or melee charges, I think it should give back max melee charges, no matter what it is, just your 100% of melee charges. Which will then allow you to synergize with a lot of things here and there, or not just synergize, but play with your entire kit even more. Like, say, for an example, you are a Thunder Crash Arc Titan. You are going in, spamming everything, and you're not wanting to do something specific. How I typically use Thunder Crash with Arc Titan. I typically use Thunder Crash with Ballistic Slam to allow me to, or Ballistic Slam and Insurmountable Skull Fort. When I miss or don't kill with Ballistic Slam, I can then use Thunder Crash to get back my melee charge if I get the kill. Without that, with this specific update I'm suggesting, it would allow you to not have to get the kill, which, tomato, potato, it's not really, or tomato, 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 there we go. Tomato, because it's more kind of, it doesn't really matter, is basically what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter overall. It'll be just a kind of cool flair, and each subclass could have a unique version. Like, that one should be melee, that one should be melee, that one should actually be class ability, because that's what the thing does, the elemental pickup does. This should give back grenade energy, and I think that should give just Woven Mail. Like, to allies base. Like, that should just be what it does. Just boom, everyone gets over mail. Or a double whammy. Like how Stasis super, how this super, when you pop it, you do a big boom of freeze. What if all Strand supers, like how all of these give back abilities, Strand doesn't give back an ability base. Like, none of its things give back an ability base unless you build into it. So what if it just gave Sever and Sever and Woven Mail just boom in a radius around you. Like you can run in, pop Blade Fury with your allies, give them Woven Mail, go in, or pop it on the enemy, or both, because your allies could be with the enemy, and do both, giving you high damage reduction and making them do less damage overall, which will just give you a maximum survivability. That sounds actually pretty fucking good, and that would work for any Strand super, and would give you the reason to run Strand, because Strand is survivability. With every ability, it is survivability, which is why I've said Strand is the opposite side of the coin. Oh my god, they are literally saying that with this. Does it swap around? No, it doesn't. Oh, I love you, Bungie. Oh, I fucking love you, Bungie. Bungie, okay. I talked about this in the previous video. How these are diamonds, these are circles. The circle, and I am actually in a destination, so all my abilities are gone, but that doesn't matter. All these abilities, how these are circles and diamonds. The circle actually means something, which is why it's not a diamond. Little things like that actually matter with Bungie storytelling. Like they have a lot of visual storytelling overall. The fact that what I have said constantly about how these are opposites and these are opposites, and that's the in-between, I don't know if that's what Bungie is doing, and I'll have to look at the other subclass, the other prismatic subclasses, but if it is the same horizontal across, that is what Bungie's saying, because I even checked that you can't swap it around like you can with the arc things, with the light and dark subclasses specifically, and that's just fucking crazy. Hell yeah. I'm sorry, that was just a brain blast, basically. Now, something about the destination specifically. First, that is just fucking gorgeous. Something about the destination specifically, and I'm going to get into this, and then I'm going to do the actual, like, main chunk of the video, which is going to show you the overall thing of the destination, which is why I highly suggest playing this. And this is not a why you should, this is just a overall just thank you, Bungie, for actually showing what you can do, basically. And I think that's actually what I'm going to title it. Destiny 2, thank you, Bungie, I think is what I'm going to title it, because I always had faith in Bungie. Always, completely and utterly had faith in Bungie, and they can do crazy things. Like, people complained about the price of the season passes. People complained about this price in the store. And you know what Bungie did? Bungie upped the price a little bit, I believe. Like, a little bit for the season pass. But, like if you buy the if you buy the yearly pass, they're all the same. Different things like that. Like, they didn't change overall prices, but if you buy the season itself, it will be like, I think, like $5 extra instead of the original 10, but that's just because of inflation. They are an American-owned company, and America's going through some shit. No matter where you are, you can look at America and see that they're going through some shit, and we are. But that's not why I'm going to this. That's not part of this video. That does not matter. What the fuck is this? Huh. Okay. And different things like that. The prices have always been good. Like, for an example, the cosmetics. The cosmetics, you're not buying a armor set. You're buying the cool-ass helmet that you can put on any armor piece with any shader, and then, boom, you have a cool armor piece. Like, imagine that helmet on that chest plate and arms with that same shader. I can't show you the shader on it, but imagine that. Like, that's what you're buying. You're not buying the entire cosmetic set for $20-ish. You're not buying one armor set. You're buying, theoretically, depending on how many pieces of armor you already got and can actually transmog, infinite. Actually, each piece of armor can then be applied to another set, which, depending on the geometry of the armor set, can actually work with different pieces here and there. Like, the shit you can do with it. Like, for an example, with just this geometry alone, the reason why I talk about geometry a lot whenever I do talk about cosmetics. When it comes to Titan cosmetics, the shoulders are typically horrible. Like, for an example, these shoulders are actually kind of horrible because they're so big. The helmet does work overall because it's a good dome, even how it goes down to here. Like, it's a good geometric shape. But this all works better overall, how it goes flowing up into the chest plate, even to the shoulders, how all of that works together. It does kind of flow from there over to there, but the arms could actually be different. Like, you can swap out the arms, the mark, and the helmet, and have just the chest plate, the boots, and have basically a completely different cosmetic set depending on the shader. Because keep in mind, shaders don't just change the color scheme. Shaders change everything. Like, I mean everything, except for like the exotic specific colors and different things like that. Like, look at the texture here on the belly, for an example. Boom. Just that, it goes from textured looking like it's carbon fiber to smooth, looking like it's a race car. Shaders are amazing and what you can actually do with them if you really want to dabble into them and make a good cosmetic set overall. And this is why all of these different things is why I have said the in-game for Destiny 2 is just fashion. Why a lot of people have said that, because it basically is. The in-game for Destiny 2 is just fashion. It is an amazing game. Another thing that is actually pretty cool overall is the destination things. These are absolutely fucking gorgeous. How, like, for an example, did that? No, I just have that equipped. It looked like I had looked like that expired. Okay. These all are fucking crazy. This is what I'm going to use when I actually run through entirely, because you're going to see me constantly amplify. That gives me constant amplification, which is fucking crazy, but it only works in the destination. In the Pale Heart, that is it. But this is an amazing start to what could be an overall sandbox thing, where instead of having subclass specific verbs or subclass specific things, there could be like a hunter's journal, like how I've talked in the previous video, how transcendence could just go to the overall sandbox, like how each subclass could really benefit from the transcendence super, even if it doesn't give the transcendent grenade. Like, I think that should say on transcendence, but or on prismatic, but the super itself, how it works with the base supers could work amazing, where the base kit itself could be amazing. Like with the first mission, when you go into the campaign, when it gives you Prisma or Transcendence on top of your base subclass, that is like the perfect sandbox, in my personal opinion, when it comes to PvE, because you can build that up. Like, I think it would work the same. Like, you can't build into that. Like, you can't build into specific subclass things on other subclasses. On other subclasses, you can build into prismatic. But when you do have prismatic, you can pop it and have a just absolute blast popping all your abilities. So depending on your build overall, that could absolutely fucking shine. But like I talked about there, it's a utility ability. It could have so much room for change and just overall possibility with what you can do. Like, why does it have to just be an increase in ability region? Like, that's it. Why can't it be like you are a tank upon tanks, or you are spewing forth light and giving everyone, or darkness, and giving everyone ability region, or something like that for the utility aspect of the utility ability, or class ability region, or something else entirely. The room is there for what they really want to do. I realized while editing this that I should actually make this a two-parter. So if you want to see all of the cool stuff here and there, go to the next video that I'm going to post after this one. It should already be posted.